Welcome to another episode of That's a Wrap.
That's a wrap.
And that's the wrap. Um, we are talking Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, because we reckoned over to the AMC.
Yes. Yes.
Definitely another bottom line, you got to see this at the movies. You can't, you're
Yeah.
not going to get the same impact watching
100%.
this. I don't care. You could have the largest screen in the universe, but at home, you need audience. You need to be in that dark space. So
Yeah.
kudos to Sir Tom Cruise for another eventful ride in
Yeah.
the Mission
Yeah.
Impossible universe.
Yeah. I felt that this installment was chef's kiss.
One sentence reaction to the Final Reckoning.
Slow boil, but then, oh my gosh, amazing.
Okay. Okay. Mine would be not as good as Dead Reckoning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still great. Still
Yeah. Yeah.
still an event. Still
I
an event,
yeah.
just not as impactful. Yeah. Okay.
100%. I agree. I'm surprised. So, yeah, we agree.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I guess the answer to the question of did it live up to the hype of previous Impossible movies? And now that's hard. That's even hard to really say because
Yeah.
that's seven other movies. And
Yeah.
they've all, I just feel like over the years, I feel like the writing has gotten even more intense. I feel like the only other place Ethan can go now is space. If they were doing a number nine, he would have to literally be an
Yeah,
astronaut in
yeah,
space
yeah. Because I
because
mean, like,
there's nothing left.
yeah, because even in the Fast and Furious franchise, they went into space.
Do not use this as a moment to bring up anything related to the Fast and Furious. But
Okay.
even
Yeah.
Dominic went into space. Okay, so what's your vibe check? Action, suspense, predictable, mind blowing.
Boring. I felt
Mm.
like the first hour
Why are you in my head?
was
Why are you in my head?
boring. Like I felt like the writers, Christopher, he's his producing
McQuarrie.
partner. Yeah.
And
I
someone else.
felt
There's
like,
another director.
yeah, but I just felt that he was under pressure to make it better and in
Mhm.
turn did the opposite.
Yeah, I would say it was that first hour, and I remember being in the seat, looking at my watch,
Yup, yup.
and we were an hour and a half or so into this film, and I was like, I need y'all to stop talking.
Yeah,
There's way too much dialogue,
yeah,
and I almost wished that they had given us a preview of Dead Reckoning in the front. Just give us like a quick recap of Dead Reckoning, just for
yeah.
those of us that may not have seen it right before we came and saw the
Right. So they could be
Final
up to
Reckoning,
speed.
so
Yeah,
we could be up to speed. I feel like what they did was tell you what happened in Dead Reckoning through a
yeah.
whole bunch of dialogue
Yes.
that I was just like, okay, like move it along.
And not even just the dialogue, but the shots that they were taking. Like 1 minute he's here, and it's like cut to here, and then cut to
Yeah.
here, and then it's martial law, but doesn't look like
It's
martial
like,
law.
right, right.
It was just for somebody who was like literally trying to save the world, his hair was just perfect. Like nothing, no grays, no, like, I don't know. It was just like the first hour, I was just like, get to it already. Like, where are we? Where's Isa Morales? Where is
Gabriel.
this
Yes, yes,
Gabriel?
yeah. other than like the slow pace, let me just give a shout out to a channel called Screen Crush, which I have watched before many a times. They just give like the best recaps, right? But the recap was of Mission Impossible 1 through 7,
Oh, wow.
just so you can get your head, to wrap your head around 8. And thank you, Screen Crush, for doing that. Because I had to remember all of the other missions. Like I was like, oh my God, I forgot all of that happened. Like it was a great ride of
Hmm.
mission 1 through 7, because when I thought about 8 and what we saw, I was like, to me, this was another instance of the penultimate movie or episode, which is always the one right before the final, was better than the final.
It
Yeah.
seems like it always happens, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I'm not upset, you know.
Yeah. It was
So
still a great day at the movies,
it
so
really
that's
was. It was.
that's
Did I think some scenes lasted way longer? Yes.
yes. Let's jump to standout moments. Favorite action sequence. What was your favorite of everything we saw in Final Reckoning?
I don't think that I had one in the
Yeah.
final reckoning. I really don't. And that's sad to say. And yeah, it's now it's starting to seem like I didn't like the movie, and I did. I just didn't think,
It went on longer than it should have.
yeah, it didn't go out with a bang like
Bang.
I was anticipating. You
Yeah.
know, I
I
I don't know why Grace was there. I don't know.
was there what throughout the whole film, or in a certain, you
In the
just didn't like her?
film.
Okay.
Yeah. She
Because she
served
was
her purpose.
annoying
Yeah, she served her
in Dead Reckoning.
purpose. That's it.
But I always feel like he needs to have a female
No, I know,
counterpart, right?
but couldn't we have found somebody else that he had
Okay.
like chemistry with? I don't think that they
Okay.
have chemistry like he had
Okay.
with the other
Okay.
potential love interests and stuff like that.
Okay. I like their chemistry, but in terms of favorite, I didn't have a favorite action sequence. I think the action sequences went on too long.
100%.
I mean, I was at the point with the when he and Gabriel were on the two planes. I literally was just like,
Yeah.
end already.
Yeah.
Okay, we get it.
Yep.
Like, how is this man still hanging on? Like, how is he maneuvering? It's like, okay, we've seen it. He had to get rid of the other guy. Now he's got his own plane. Now he's getting on your plane. It's like,
Yeah, and like even the submarine. I liked
oh,
that. I liked how he went down, right? I
mm-hmm,
so I
mm-hmm,
think that that was probably my best action sequence when
mm-hmm,
he was
mm-hmm.
descending into the submarine. But once
Okay.
he got there, I felt that it lasted way too long. I don't know. It's so interesting. Throughout the whole thing, I was thinking of the Mission Impossible with Harry Cavill,
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill, Henry Cavill. I was thinking
Yes.
about him
Uh-huh.
because that fight sequence was absolutely fantastic.
In
And
the
then
bathroom.
in the
That,
bathroom,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that was,
What was that? 6?
yeah, I
Was
thought it
that
was like
Mission
five or
Impossible
six,
6?
six, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was thinking five or six.
yeah,
Each Mission Impossible has layers, and they
yeah.
have different ones that I'm just like, oh my God. So I compare each one too.
Mm-hmm.
So like throughout the whole thing, I was just like, y'all, they have to have something as great as
That.
that scene, right? And it never got there. And then
Mm-hmm.
when he was in the submarine and the submarine starts rolling and he needs to get out, I started thinking about Fast and the Furious franchise. I think it was episode 7 when when Brian's in a bus and the bus is going off the cliff and he has to
Mm-hmm.
like run up to get out.
Yes.
And then I'm just like, oh my God, is this going to be like that. Like I can watch that
Hmm.
scene over and over and over because it was just so
Hmm.
beautifully done. And then the submarine just went to a dud.
Kind of, yeah. So, and it's funny you mentioned that one from the Fast and Furious, although I said we would not talk Fast and Furious. But I know that you have a
But we're
lot of,
talking
there's a lot of
action
scenes,
sequence.
right?
Yeah,
Action
yeah,
scenes. So this is why I think Dead Reckoning stands out as one of the absolute best, because that
yeah.
movie had me literally at the
L-
edge of my seat
Locked in,
from the time it started until it ended. And
locked
there
in.
is and there is that train scene when they're on the train. It's him and
Yeah.
Grace, and they're
Oh my God, that was amazing. Amazing.
like when my stomach starts to knot and I am in anxiety, but it's still exciting.
Yeah,
That's a great action
yeah,
sequence.
yes,
That's a really great action sequence. My anxiety in Final Reckoning was with him in that in the tight spaces of that submarine. But
yeah.
whenever it was the water filling in and he had to go in and out, like that was anxiety driven for me only because I don't do tight spaces, right?
Okay.
And I was just like, how long we gonna be in this? Like, how long? I was talking to myself in, in my head as I was watching it. I was like, you're safe, girl. You've got you're not in there because it was like two things, tight spaces and water like that just freaked me out. So, but did I feel excitement? No. I didn't feel I wasn't excited about it like you. Again, it went on forever.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
wasn't until he started to descent upwards and you started to see the body, like the way he did that whole, I felt that. Like I was like,
No, that was
oh my
beautiful.
God.
That
It was
was
beautiful.
beautiful.
The
Yeah.
way his body would just rise once all of the muscles have just constricted and he's
Yeah.
out, and
Yeah.
just the way that they show you how he hits the ice, but it was the angle of how they shot that
But
scene. I was just like,
but
oh,
also
that was
if you
beautiful.
look at that scene, it looked like he was descending into air.
Hair,
Like he was
yes,
up in the clouds. So you're thinking like, is he
yes,
dying? Like, what is all of
yes,
this, right? And
yeah,
so
yeah.
for me, I was just like, oh my God, this is
Hmm.
beautifully shot. Then I have to come back in and as a viewer, and then when he's on the ground and Grace is given CPR,
Yeah,
I'm like, how did she even find him? I had all these
it's
questions,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's the last thing that you want is like me thinking about questions because then I'm thinking about these questions and then I'm upset because I'm not really
yeah.
focused on the movie. I just felt like that shot was so beautifully done, but it didn't tie
Hmm.
up to how Grace found him.
Right. It skips that to he's
Yeah.
found and she's doing CPR.
Right,
And
right.
I guess the way that they shot that seemed very much like they were a couple, and it was very intimate of her
Hmm.
trying to save him, because the first thing you see is her mouth over his. Yeah, I think that it takes you out of where you were,
Yeah.
where it left you with him kind of going up,
Right,
and
right.
then all of a sudden it's like, okay,
Yeah. I'm
it was a sharp turn. What was Tom Cruise's best stunt? Was there anything in Final Reckoning that you thought was like, oh, okay.
I'm gonna have to couple of things, two things. The submarine when he
Hmm.
descends and he's going in
Hmm.
there and he could be killed by the propellers, right? Like the
Right,
force
right.
from that.
Yeah.
I love that. And then him
Mm.
running to get to Luther. Like
Hmm. Hmm.
Ethan be booking.
I mean, it's at a point where I was just like, is he the Flash? Like
Ethan,
he's running after a
Ethan be
plane.
booking.
I mean, look. the man, Tom Cruise has to be in incredible shape
Yeah, yeah.
for him to run as fast as he does.
Yup.
And I appreciate that.
Hmm.
But I was just like, seriously,
Ethan.
seriously, like that's how I'm sitting there going, really?
Right. Wouldn't it be better, faster to take a Lyft or Uber?
Is there not a car?
No.
The fact that you're running out of time and you're running
And you're
after a
running.
plane.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love action movies. We've been watching them since we were young.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, since they started, but I just feel that it was too much. It like there were just
Hmm.
things that were too much,
Yeah.
too unrealistic for me to believe that Ethan can do these things.
Right,
Right? Like
right.
that the whole they were running sequences where I was just like, this is also lasting too long. Like
Yeah, yeah.
the one with Luther I liked because that was underground. It
Hmm.
seemed more plausible
Yeah.
than when he was running after Gabriel in South Africa.
Oh,
Like that was just
yeah, that and then also even within the submarine that he took off his wetsuit and he's still alive. Like, huh? I mean, there are times in there, like in all of these missions, I'm like, come on, Ethan, get out of there. Come on, Ethan, get out of there. You're gonna do it. You're
yeah,
gonna do it,
yeah,
right? I
yeah,
know you are.
yeah,
But then I was just like, huh? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think he has done so many other stunts in all the other Mission Impossibles. I feel like at this point
What
it was
else is there?
more it was yeah. I mean, what else is there? And maybe that's why they wrote so much dialogue
Mm,
because it was just like we've got two major things happening. It's going to be the plane
right.
and it's going to be the submarine. Let's just focus on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Was there
the story was lackluster for me.
it was because I was like, so the entity is now on the verge of getting access to all the nuclear power on this planet, all the countries that have it. And then there were scenes about like martial law and there was like craziness out in the streets, but I didn't
I didn't see crazy.
see it.
I
It's
didn't
not like
see
he was in
crazy.
London and you saw, maybe I missed it. I'm not sure, but you guys can let us know in the comments. Maybe I missed it, but I didn't even get the sense that the world knew that
Yeah.
ish was going on.
Yeah. Like I really didn't. I mean, you leaned over to me and said they're going through martial law, and yet the ultra rich are still having
Still
a
having
gala.
parties,
They're having a gala. Like I was just like, well, I guess martial law is just for poor people, you
people.
know?
So I was like,
Anybody
wait,
under 500,000 and less, it's martial law. Anybody 501,000 more.
because I was like, wait, they're at a very lavish party,
Yeah,
but you want us to believe that the world is on the verge of
right,
like,
right, right.
I feel like they kind of dropped the ball on that. Was there any scene, I don't even know if I should ask, but was there any scene that had you feeling like you were holding your breath?
I think the last scene when he had the hard drive or he had that white box, spoiler
Mm,
alert,
mm.
and Luther's voice started talking. I think to me that's when I like held my
Yeah,
breath because I thought that was beautiful.
it
Um,
was.
between two friends, you know,
Yeah,
it's just that intimate moment between two friends just to let him know that, you know, what he does is important,
yeah.
even if people don't even know that he's doing it. You know what I mean? Like,
It was a reminder of how they started this whole thing,
yeah,
right? I
yeah.
Why I also wanted to give a shout out to Screen Crush was because when they did the recap of from 1 through 7, I completely forgot what the story even was in Mission Impossible 1. And I forgot that that is when like Luther was there from the beginning.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know why I thought maybe he came in like two or three,
yeah, yeah.
but Luther was there with him from the beginning.
Yep, yep, yep.
And so to hear that voice,
Yeah,
I know I was,
yeah. And it's
them tears
paying,
were coming down.
yeah, well, and my sister, she was just
Yeah,
like,
no.
thank you, Jesus. I'm like, what? Um,
Oh my God. Yeah.
but
Because
yeah, like, because I've been rewatching the movies.
the
I know, but
movies. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
each installment,
Yes.
because they're playing on Paramount Plus, so I've been
Oh, okay.
rewatching them.
I got
Yeah,
to catch up. Okay.
yeah, and just those reliving moments, right?
Mm,
Now that it's done, to look at it now and see it at a different lens and stuff like that.
yeah.
I did think that what the Final Reckoning was trying to do was trying to take moments that are right here, right now, with information, and who can take information and mold it into something that they want, right? Because we're
Mm,
living in that now. So that I felt like, okay, they're connecting real life events
yes.
for movie, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought that that was really interesting in how they wrote that.
Yeah. It's very timely
Hmm.
to the world that we live in now, especially with
Yeah.
that, AI discussions are happening everywhere. And we were even on a call this past week about AI and
Hmm.
is it agentic AI or whatever, the one where it can make its own decisions and it could, and I was thinking about that as I was watching Final Reckoning because I was like, I feel like we're heading to we're heading here. Call it Skynet, call it whatever, but the more that we start giving AIs the ability to decide for itself what it can and cannot do, and it doesn't need human intervention, then we could potentially get to a time like this where an AI is running everything because everything we have in the Western world, right, and the modern world is linked to technology.
Hmm. Hmm.
The content, the topic is definitely timely for today,
Yeah. I mean, I think
for sure.
it's more along the lines of who are we, like Grace was wrestling with who's going to be the keeper instead of going through all the
Yes.
stuff that they went through.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he just do it, right? Why doesn't
Hmm.
he just
Hmm.
control it? But when you have that ultimate power,
Yeah.
it should not be in the hands of any human,
Agreed.
no human. So it's
Agreed.
like it's one of those things. And to see him at the end where he looks at the box and he sees it and it glows, and then he's walking off, right? I
Hmm.
know that this is the maybe the end of Ethan Hunt in this role as we know it, but
Hmm.
I feel like there's going to be another Mission Impossible.
Hmm.
And maybe this is the one where Michael B. Jordan's gonna
I
star
mean,
in, you know, because
we
Tom
can hope.
has said loudly that he wants to work with Michael B. Jordan.
I
So
can definitely see Michael B. Jordan taking on a role like this
yeah,
where
a
he's the
really good
lead.
franchise.
A
Yeah,
really good, yes, yes.
yeah.
I can absolutely see that. Just quickly getting back to that scene with Luther
Hmm.
or the voice, I think it was so impactful because you saw and we were a part of them saying goodbye
Hmm.
and the conversation that they had then, that which then ties into what Luther leaves him with when he makes that connect. Like, oh, it was that was a moment. So that
Yeah,
was definitely a good one. Let's move to hits and misses. And maybe we've already talked about them already, but
yeah.
what do you think worked in this in Final Reckoning? What worked for you? in
I
terms
thought
of performance or action,
I
story,
thought
twists, things like that.
the actors were great.
Hmm.
I felt that the director really told the story,
Hmm.
even though sometimes it felt long, but he still told the story
Hmm.
um in a very cinematic way. I mean, Isa Morales, like that worked for me.
I know the minute he came on screen, all three of us were just
Right.
like,
Yes,
yes.
yes. Um,
Because I wish he didn't die.
yeah.
And I feel like we probably should have said this is not spoiler free. This is all spoilers all the time. But
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. I
I
think
guess
you
I could
need
have
to
put
put that in the definition, right? Spoilers
spoilers.
alert. I think that
I,
what didn't work for me, the misses for me,
mhm.
that the story took too long,
Yeah.
that I felt like there was this disconnect between Ethan, Benji, and everybody else. I don't know
Hmm.
why. I just felt like there was this space between them. And not even with Luther. I
Hmm.
felt that
Hmm.
connection between them, but I just
Yeah.
felt like there was this distance between Ethan or Tom Cruise and the other
Hmm.
actors. I don't know what that's about, but I saw that.
I think
Um,
that's
mhm.
solid. And maybe it was because he lost someone that, and he's lost people throughout all
Every
eight,
episode,
right?
every yeah, installment.
Iteration of,
Yeah.
yes, every
Yeah.
iteration of Mission Impossible, he's lost someone, right?
Hmm.
But I see it now that you mentioned it. I see it. There was this sense of like it was Ethan.
Hmm.
Oh, and these other people too, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like it was like there's Ethan and his crew, whereas in other iterations he had a team
Hmm.
because he either he brought the team together or it was a mix of they people became a part of his team, but he
Yeah.
already had a standard team. And I'm wondering if it's because Luther dies that something breaks in him where he doesn't allow himself to really have much of a relationship, a closeness. It's like the closeness got lost, even with Benji. And Benji's been with him, I think, since like two or three. So he's been with him
Yeah.
a very long time, and they've
Right.
been through it.
They've been through
But
it, but there shouldn't. And like you said, maybe because this isn't the team that he put together, because remember in one of the scenes he said, "This you're the leader of your team.
yes,
Like this is your team."
yes,
So that could be the reason why there was that, I felt that space.
yeah. And
So
Ethan very much, I I believed, even though he believed in his skills and he believed in the team, I don't think he believed that he would survive this. And maybe that's why he was telling Benji, this is your team,
yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah. Preparing
Yeah,
him for the
preparing
worst.
him,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And which at the end of it, I can't say for certain that we can't even say Ethan's out, right? We can't even say that Ethan is out because
Oh
I don't
yeah,
even
I
believe
know
you
he's
ever you know what I mean?
yeah,
So I
yeah. Ethan's
I
not
don't know
out.
what the future holds, but
Yeah.
maybe Ethan becomes like a mentor to
Oh,
whoever that
a
new
hundred.
person will
That's what
will
I
be.
think. Yeah, I think he'll make a couple of cameos, right?
Yeah.
And talk to
Yeah.
them like the OG, but it's going to
Yeah.
be somebody else's like ball game, and that I see. Yeah.
Do you feel, because this was number 8, do you feel like there was any sort of like franchise fatigue with the Mission Impossible franchise?
The only film that I saw that in would
Mm,
be this one.
okay.
I felt like they were just trying to get it perfect,
Mm,
or trying to get
mm,
it right. That sweet spot, right? When
yeah.
you
Yeah.
try too hard, you don't get it.
Yes.
You
You don't.
you have to like let it go and let it flow, right? And I felt like they were just trying so hard
Yeah.
to tell the story that they failed to tell the story.
Yeah, I think Dead Reckoning, probably if they had another hour and a half, they could have, like, it would have just been perfect to get the
Oh
full
yeah.
story and end it there.
Yeah.
Um, but because that, I mean, that was to me pinnacle of
That was,
suspense,
oh my
action,
God.
story, acting, like
Yeah.
everything meshed so well
Yeah.
in Dead Reckoning.
Yeah.
And I think it was extremely hard to get this last one to be anywhere close to that.
100%. Yeah. Although I really did like that they brought in William Dunlow.
So the character was done low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um
That surprise,
from
I heard
one.
it throughout in the whole theater. All of us
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
dumbfounded,
And
surprised.
and I should have known because they kept in the scenes before they did the knife, and then when it went
Yes.
down and
Didn't
then
catch it.
it did not catch that,
Nope.
right? And then
No.
we're in Alaska and he's like, "Hey, Dunlow, William Dunlow." And nobody catches it until there's like the
Ethan.
CIA analyst and it's just like,
Right.
"Oh my God." Yeah. I thought that
And
was
the thing
wonderful.
is, they showed us that at the beginning when they
Yep.
were kind of doing the quick flashes of
Yeah. All of them. Yeah.
all of the missions.
Yeah.
But that part, when we all connected the dots in
Yep.
in that movie theater, and this is why you should go to the movie theater to watch it. When we all connected the dots and then see him from 30 years ago
Yep.
come into that room where Ethan was just hovering over it, and
Oh
that
my God, that was such an incredible scene. That was so incredible.
I
Yeah.
think to me that was the biggest surprise.
Yeah.
That was the biggest surprise in Final Reckoning was
Yeah.
that connection
Yep.
because to see, I think
Yeah.
it's beautiful to see something from 28 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and here is that same character
Yep.
who
Yep.
and has a significant role
Yeah.
in the plot of what's happening in this final iteration of the Tom Cruise's Mission Impossibles. Yeah,
That
the
is, yeah.
the
Full circle.
audibly, all of
Yeah.
us were like,
Oh my
"Oh
God.
my god!"
Oh my God. Look who it is. Yep.
That was a great moment. That was a great moment. Okay,
Yeah.
so takeaways. Like the first question I have here is, was it worth seeing in theaters? We all know what the answer is.
Yeah. 100%.
I think when it comes to action movies, and especially in what we expect from a Tom Cruise action movie,
Yeah. You guys see it
to
on the big
not see
screen.
it in a theater,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing yourself a disservice. I
Yep.
don't care if you got those boxes that we all know some people got, where you can watch these things at home. It's
It's
not
not the
the
same.
same.
It's not the same.
It is not the same. So yes, I believe that it was absolutely worth it to see it in the movie theaters. The next question is, should fans wait to stream? No, no.
No. In fact, like I want to watch Dead Reckoning and then rethink the
Yes.
Final Reckoning, like
Yeah.
and just think about it and link those two up in my head. Yeah.
You know, it's why I keep going back to Dead Reckoning is because as I was watching this, I remember being in the theater watching Dead Reckoning, and
Hmm.
I was
I was floored.
fully
Yeah.
connected to what
Yeah.
that experience was like and the
Yep.
experience that I nodded off. I ain't gonna lie.
Um,
There was times in here where I was like,
I
uh-huh.
don't know if you saw me, but I was yawning. And then I
Yeah,
would sit up
yeah,
in the seat, then I would lean back, and then
yeah.
I'd sit up and
Stood up, I would see you moving up, and I'm just like, wow, she's in my mind, I was like, wow, she's really into it. And you're just like, I'm trying to stay awake.
I'm trying
That's
to
what I'm
stay
doing. I'm trying to
awake.
stay awake. Now, summer blockbusters, right? So this is the start. This is in true Tom Cruise fashion.
Yep.
This is the big blockbuster movie that starts off
How summer,
the
yep.
summer. Yeah. So I don't know. Did it meet the standards of a blockbuster?
To me, no.
Okay.
But because it's part of a franchise that always has,
Mm,
yes.
then yes.
So I'm going to give it yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you have to look at the whole, like,
The
look
whole
at
body of work.
the whole
Yeah.
body of work and go,
Yeah.
yes, when especially it's Memorial Weekend.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
else do you want to be other than a beach and in a movie theater because
Yeah. I
everything's hitting
mean,
at this time.
nothing says like summertime, like Ethan booking down a London street trying to stop a bomb. I mean, come on.
You know what? I think the one thing that was missed in this one, and maybe that's why, and now I'm kind of making that connection. He was not on a motorcycle, or was
Nope.
he?
Mm-mm.
No, he
Mm-mm.
wasn't. And I
Mm-mm.
feel like he's always on a
On a, yeah.
motorcycle.
Yeah. That's why when he was running to Luther, I'm like, why didn't he steal
Why did
somebody's
you?
motorcycle?
Yeah, maybe that's what it was too. It was like there's love to see him running, but I needed to be
Yeah.
realistic. And
Yeah.
maybe if he had
There were no
a
car chases.
motorcycle,
Was there?
yeah.
There was one, the Jeeps. Remember
Oh
when they
yeah,
were
yeah,
in that
yeah.
cave? But that
Yeah.
lasted all of like 2 seconds.
2 seconds. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This is it. The clapboard. One means pure hot trash, don't waste your time. Five meaning truly one of the best movie experiences. Where are you with Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning?
I'm and don't show this to my sister because she'll kill me. If I'm honest, I would say 2.5. However, I'm
Yeah,
not, so I'm gonna be 3.
I'm definitely at a three, maybe a 2.98, but I would say this was a solid three for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah,
Except that
and that
first
is being
hour,
fair.
yeah,
And that
because
is a fair. It was a lot of talking.
it was a lot of talking, a lot of waiting for. I felt like some of it was kind of slapstick, right-ish, kind of in
Yeah,
the beginning. Like they were
yeah,
making jokes about the Mission Impossible and stuff like that.
yeah.
But that first hour just really like, ugh.
It
So
took a long time.
yeah.
Okay, quick question.
Hmm.
The supporting actors. So we had
Palm.
the well, not even on his team because
Oh, okay.
I feel like we've seen them and we're a lot of them were in the other one, except the Inuit woman and
Oh, William Dunlow.
William Dunlow. Okay,
Yeah.
between because I loved William Dunlow and his Inuit wife. They were great. I love
Oh my
their
God. They,
the love. I loved how I think her name was Tapisa, how she helped Grace
yep.
and how she was able to show Grace
Hmm.
what she needed to do because sis was
Yeah.
like, I'm tired, the dogs
Yep.
are ready.
She said no, because I need to.
Sis, I need to sleep. Like, I'm tired.
You
I
gonna figure this
loved,
out. Yeah. Yeah.
and that was another wonderful surprise was seeing Dunlow and his wife. They made it, they made it
On
to
the plane. Oh my God. I think everybody was like, yay, yay.
not even on the plane when they came through. Remember they had 10 seconds to run into the server room
Oh,
before that thing exploded.
that. Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
remember they were covered in dust. And
Yeah.
I just that was also a great moment in the theater experience
Theater.
because
Yeah.
all of us were just like because
Yeah.
never we all needed them to make it because they
Oh,
were just too
be
adorable.
beyond a doubt.
Too adorable. So you were talking about Tremel Tillman playing Captain Bledsoe. So he was
Hmm.
the submarine captain
Yeah.
on the USS. I think it was the was it the George H.W. Bush?
George
I think
H.W.
it.
Bush. Yeah.
Yeah, loved his character. Like
Oh,
it,
yeah.
even in small parts. or smaller, at least what seems like a small part in such a big movie, the impact an actor can make to a
Mm-hmm.
role.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't remember seeing Tremel Tillman before, but he was the right guy for this
Yeah.
part.
Yeah. I think he was on like
He was
Severance. He was on,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Which I haven't watched, but
Mm-hmm.
he was commanding. He was believable
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
as that, but he was super real. Like he just kept things very real. Like I don't need to know everything,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it real for you. Like what you're trying to do sounds ridiculous,
Yeah. Right. Right.
right? I loved him. I loved uh Hannah Waddingham, who played the
Yeah.
Admiral Neely.
Yeah. I love
I
her,
don't know
but
why
I didn't know.
what
I didn't understand why she was there though. I mean, she's the president's like friend or something like that.
right.
So, but really, like, huh?
I know
So,
it was intrigue with the note that the president was writing as her whole cabinet's telling her we
yeah,
got what he's trying to do is ridiculous. We need
yeah.
to take,
So May 12th,
drastic actions.
1996.
But she's the one to get Ethan to the
George H.W. Bush.
H.W. Bush, right? She's the one who to get him there because they were waiting for, they were just like, we can't just be out here hovering in Russian in Russian
Yeah,
wars.
yeah.
I don't know if that part was absolutely necessary.
To me, it wasn't, but
Um, but it was nice to see her in it, I guess.
yeah, I mean, that's my girl, and glad that
Yeah,
she working, and it's a good gig, right? She
yeah,
on
yeah,
one of the biggest movies of the season. So, I
yeah.
liked Palm,
Hmm.
who played the assassin in Paris.
Yeah.
I thought that I really liked her character. Yeah. Um,
She's come
oh,
a long way, right?
yeah,
From when you first
yeah,
it's as if she was just this person that just killed, right? Like that was
yeah,
she was not a 3D character by any means, right? She was
right.
just like this is all she
Yeah.
did. But they gave her more. And it wasn't
Yeah.
in with a lot of dialogue
No,
either.
that's it. And even though her character was like kind of 2D, I still felt that she gave more
Hmm. Hmm.
to make people recognize her the next time,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes.
She
Yeah.
she didn't just like fall and
Yeah.
just
And there
become,
was redemption, right?
yeah,
There
yeah,
was I just wish the way they told her story, I kind of wish is how this whole story played out, where it was more visuals and not so much dialogue because you didn't need all of that dialogue to know that. I mean, Paris only had few words. They were always in French most of the
yeah.
time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's few words, but telling so much of a story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Especially her and the other black guy on the team. He's played by
Yes,
Greg Davis. I forget what his name
Degas.
is.
Greg
Deva.
Tarzan Davis, who played Degas,
Oh,
as
Degas.
in the
Okay.
painter.
Yeah. Oh,
Degas.
that's
Yeah.
nice, nice,
I
nice. Yeah.
honestly didn't even know that was what his name was because I was just
I
like, oh, the black guy,
Yep. I did not even know he had a name.
black
So,
guy on the team because
yep.
I
Yeah.
don't recall even hearing his
And somebody saying, where
his name
Degas
at
at?
all.
I didn't remember hearing that. So yeah. But I like the
No.
way that they would communicate with body language and their
Hmm.
eyes. Yeah.
Visually,
Hmm.
yes, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
that was great. Henry Czerny as Kittredge, he has been there since Mission Impossible 1. He always hated Ethan. He always wanted to
Oh my
sabotage
God.
Ethan.
Seriously.
And he caused so many problems as always because he always wants
Always.
ultimate power that he can't
Yup.
seem to get because Ethan is always thwarting whatever he's trying to do, and yet Kittredge continues to just be a
Hmm.
pain in the ass.
Hmm. And getting, promotions, right?
Yes, honestly,
Mediocrity.
honestly, he plays. a government guy to the T. All this
Seriously.
power. He running the CIA,
Mm-hmm.
and all
Mm-hmm.
he cares about is how can I get this power in my
In my
hand
hand. Yup.
so that America has the, it's like, it
Yeah.
ain't about America, buddy.
Right, right, right.
It was never about
So that
America.
America.
America
Okay.
has
Mhm.
the power. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing I feel like they do get right in the Mission Impossibles. They is,
A hundred.
for the
Yeah.
most part, is
Yeah. Seriously. Seriously.
the supporting cast.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they get the people, the actors that honestly believe there are no small parts, only small actors. Because
Yeah.
every single one of them like rose to the occasion. And it was just like,
Yes.
memorable. So kudos to
Agreed.
them.
So there we have it.
That's it.
Oh, shoot. Let me just say high five to Angela Bassett,
Oh, always the queen. What's up? What's up?
President of
Yes.
the United States. And in a recap that I saw, screen crush, thank you. Um, that she was in that episode, and she was in the episode. I call them episodes, but they're not. But I'm gonna call it anyway. The one with Henry Cavill.
Yeah,
She
five or
played.
six. Yup.
Yes, she
Yep.
played. I don't know if she was head of CIA or whatever, but
Yeah,
it
she
was
was head
great
of
to see
CIA.
her progress from
Yep.
that
To
to
president.
being the president.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's why I'm saying it's so I need to go through each
yeah,
installment so I can
yeah,
see that progression, you know?
yeah,
And
yeah.
these movies are just so freaking good, period.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
And you know what? There were times in there of this woman, leader of the free world, as we like to call them, in a room with these men
and they were yelling at her
who are
to
telling her,
right?
not even asking, not even like, okay, so why do you think? There were no questions.
Yep.
It was
Yep.
what you are trying to do and you doing this is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And they were mansplaining to her job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
And
no,
they
I
and
caught
she
I
just
caught all of that. All
all
of
of
that.
that. And and she held her ground. And I can honestly say there were times when they showed her, just whether it was when she was in a quiet space where she was just kind of contemplating her decision, and I felt the weight of it,
Mm-hmm.
the weight of her decision to trust Ethan to get it done,
To get it
when
done. Yeah.
all
Everybody, yeah.
all data which is telling her he can't do it.
Right,
Everything
right.
and everyone is telling her he cannot do it. But and she, especially as a woman, especially as a black woman, but a
Mm-hmm.
woman
A
in
woman.
that
Mm-hmm.
role, in a room full of men and one woman that was just kind of like, oh, I don't know if this was the right decision, Anita,
Yeah.
but I really just like that, the quietness of her sitting as they're all either talking a whole bunch of smack, but she was very resolute in her decision. And I can't imagine being the person to have to sit in that seat
Oh, I
in
couldn't
a
even
time
imagine.
like, in a time like this where you're making a decision that could potentially go one way or the other. And then you have to also make another decision of, we need to bomb one of our cities
Right.
just so
Right. Yeah.
this entity
Mm-hmm.
is thrown off, because we're
Collateral
doing something.
damage, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
collateral damage. Like, so watching her, and I noticed like they're all like sweating. You got sweat over
Yes.
here, sweating
Yes.
there. Not one drop of sweat
Mm-mm.
on her. Hair still coiffed.
L- Looked amazing. Amazing.
It's just like, oh wow,
I
okay,
thought
okay.
that was an interesting choice in showing the intensity in these men's features, right?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
they're, it's not necessarily in their words, because some of them had no lines, and you
Hmm.
just see it in their face. And then the one general who asked for the sidearm from the soldier that
Yeah.
was standing outside, I
Nick
thought he was
Nick
going to kill her.
Offerman. I thought
Yes,
he was going to
I
kill her
thought he was
too.
going to kill her.
So my question, and that I'm glad that we
I
lead
know.
up to this. I know
We
we were
thought we
going
were
to try to
wrapping up.
cut, but why did he ask for that sidearm?
I don't
And
know.
then also, did he get shot?
He did
Because
by the guy
I didn't even see the bullet. I didn't see any blood.
when the guy was started to shoot.
Yeah.
I knew that I had a sense that one of them got hit. I didn't
Okay.
know who because there was no way that he was shooting
Yeah.
that many bullets in a
Right.
small room.
Yeah.
Them chairs are fabric. It's going right through the chairs, right? But I didn't, and maybe that's why I was like, well, it didn't make sense that he asked for the sidearm.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, so was he preparing to kill her? And it just so
Or kill
happened,
himself? Like, what was he
and
going to
it just so
do?
happened that this guy in there was part of the movement the entity was creating. And,
Mm-hmm.
he was going to, I think that was a weak part of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
scripting because
Yeah.
it didn't make any sense as to why he
Not
was
at
just
all.
like, soldier or whatever, give me your sidearm. Because I
Yeah.
immediately was like, I was expecting him to go back in there and to
And
threaten her,
right. To
right?
like do what he
Because
wanted her to do.
it seemed like all the other dudes had his like they were all on the same page.
Right. Right.
But then for this other guy to suddenly be the
Yeah.
killer in the room and he just so happened to have this gun,
Yeah. I was just like,
it was a plot line. It was just a
yeah,
fail.
it was like low hanging fruit. Like, yeah, it was easy. It was the easy way out. I mean, I'm glad that
Yeah.
he saved the day and sacrificed
Yeah.
himself. You know, some gave all gave some.
Some gave none, and some gave none. That one guy with all the sweat, he gave none. His
But he
whole thing
was
was just
there
like,
at
well, I
the
guess it
end.
worked.
And y'all, he was like, that son of a bitch did it.
I was just like, that woman had to sit in that room with you all up in
Oh,
her grill,
oh,
telling
it is.
her
Oh my
everything she's
God.
doing is wrong. And I was waiting for him to be like, I don't even know how you're president.
Yeah.
Like, I was waiting for
Yeah.
something like
How
that.
you
But
get here? How you get
how you
here?
did this job? Did you get this job? Did we count all the votes? He was that guy. He was that. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. I think we are finally done.
Yeah, we're done.
Um, Thank you everyone for watching. Would please hit us up in the comments. Drop your ratings. What's your verdict on Mission Impossible Final Reckoning? Did you watch it? And if so, like, tell us everything. We
Yeah,
definitely would love
yeah,
to engage with you in the
yeah.
comments
And also, which
about this
one
movie.
out of all the installments, which one was your
Yes.
favorite? And what was your favorite like action sequence in this whole franchise? That'd be good.
Mm.
Yeah.
See, that's tough, Net.
Yeah, I know.
Because
I
that
know.
bathroom scene with Henry
Yeah, yeah.
Cavill,
But then also
that
when
stands
he
out.
number one, when he comes down to yeah, that there's so many good
So
ones, so
much.
many good ones, so many
So
good
much.
ones.
So much. Okay. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging with us. And that's a wrap.